I'm Ellen McCauley, and I'm at Pray It Off in Syracuse, New York. I just read a chapter, a little verse from a chapter in Galatians, and I'd like to repeat it for the blog. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. Let us not grow tired of doing good, for in due time we shall reap our harvest if we do not give up. And I've included a picture of myself in this week's packet. And it says, A Witness by Ellen Bellin, the Watermelon. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But what I think is so amazing about this picture, it was taken in January of 2008. And what I find amazing is that I didn't even have makeup on. Here I'm starting a new group, but I came with no makeup. And I purposely didn't smile. And you see why I smile all the time? Because I don't look so good when I don't smile. I'm going to show this photo for the blog. And at this time, I had already lost weight. I started in 2008, I weighed 371 pounds, and on this date I was a petite 338 pounds, and I stood in front of a group of 25 people and said, let's lose weight together. And now almost 9 full years later, we're still here. And I decided to witness tonight because I was inspired by the words of Henri Nouwen. And it's Nouwen. He's Henry Nouwen. He's an author that Pat Shaw introduced me to. He inspired me because he said this: I have always heard Jesus' invitation to lay down my life for others as an invitation to make my own life struggles, my doubts, my hopes, my fears and my joys, my pains and my moments of ecstasy available to others as a source of consolation and healing. To witness for Christ means for me to witness for Him what I have seen with my own eyes and heard with my own ears and touched with my own hands. So, having said that, I'm giving you my weight loss witness tonight, not for me, but for you, to just understand what I've gone through, and perhaps you can relate to it for people who might see this, because there's, I think, sometimes a difference in someone who has been overweight their entire lives versus someone who might have put on 20 or 30 pounds as they got older. When you are a fat child, it has the sometimes potential to define who you are as a person. My mom and dad had 3 kids between the ages of 18 and 22. And my dad had a terrible illness, and that illness was alcoholism. And when he was good, he was very good. And when he was bad, oh, he was horrid. And he couldn't keep a job. And we were on public assistance, and they didn't have food stamps back then. They had what's called surplus food. And surplus food was these big blocks of orange cheese and these huge jars of peanut butter with this much oil on the top. It was macaroni and pasta. And we started eating those foods, and by the time I was in a 2nd grade, he got a job, but not a really good paying job. And our meals mostly consisted of macaroni and cheese, spaghetti, toasted cheese sandwiches, chili. You know, we weren't really having the salads and the chicken and those sorts of things. And I started really gaining weight in 3rd and 4th grade. And in 4th grade, our teacher said, there's too many kids in our class, and we need people to volunteer to go to another school, and it would really help us out, and it would mean a lot. Could someone please volunteer to go to this other school? And I felt bad. They needed a volunteer, so I raised my hand. I was the only one. who volunteered to go to this other school. So in 5th grade, I marched down walked all the way by myself to this new school in 5th grade where I didn't know one person. And I walked in and my mother gave me this pep talk. It's going to be great. You're going to make new friends. And I walked in and the teacher said, I'd like to introduce our new student, Ellen McCauley. And I stood up in front of the class smiling and one of the boys said, isn't her name Ellen Bellin the watermelon? And the whole class, at least to my 5th grade memory, erupted in laughter. And I stood there going, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, this is this new school, what am I doing here? And the rest of the day was a blur, just a blur. And I went home and my mother was so excited. How was your day? How was it? And I started crying and crying. They called me names. They called me a watermelon. And she sat me down at the kitchen table and she fixed me a bowl of ice cream. And we sat there crying because the kids were calling me fat and I was eating ice cream. And yet she said at that time some words I never forgot the rest of my life. What they call you is not who you are. You are nice, you are kind, you are funny. When they get to know you, everyone will be clamoring to be your friend. You go right back to that school and you let them know the kind of person you are. And then you'll be the most popular girl in school. You'll be the most popular girl in high school. And I listened to my mother and I believed her. I believed if I was just myself, it would make things better. And you know what? It did. And by the time I got to high school was 7th through 12th grade, I was in everything. I was in the marching band. I played field hockey. I played basketball, baseball, everything. But I was still fat. I still could not lose weight. No matter what I seemed to do, I was exercising. I wasn't eating. I wasn't drinking beer for sure. I was just doing what high school kids do. And it wasn't until I was a junior in high school that I went on my first diet, because in the spring of my junior year, they said, next year we're going to do a play. It's going to be called the Pajama Game. And I'm like, what, a play? Our high school had never done a play. And I said, I want to be the lead. I want to be the lead. So I started all summer long. I exercised. I starved myself. I got down to probably weighed around 210. I got down to 170. And I'm telling you, I looked great at 170. I really did. But I just knew. I knew that I was going to get the lead in the show. I knew it. So I auditioned. I went to the library. I got out the double record. I memorized all the songs. So now it's the audition. I blew them away. I stood up there and I sang the song. I knew every word by heart, and they were out there going, whoa. I said, I'm going to get it. My mother's like, how'd it go? I said, great, great, great. The next day they put the cast list up. And I'm looking for my name, And it had a person's name that I got the role. And in parentheses it said, the fat girl. So I was like, oh my God, how's that possible? The fat girl. I should be the lead. And the girl that got the lead, I'm sorry, Linda, if you're watching this, but I really did better than her. I did. I went home and I laid on the bed and I cried. I was inconsolable. Not only did I not get the lead, I was the fat girl. My mother marched up those stairs. She got in my face and she said, you listen to me. You are gonna be the best fat girl that school has ever seen. Did you ever hear the phrase, this is my mother talking, did you ever hear the phrase, you're gonna steal the show? You're gonna be on that stage and people are gonna be, there's the lead over there, but who's that? Look at her over there singing, look at her acting. And I said, but Mom, I wanted to win the Elmira Little Theater Award. They're not gonna give the Elmira Little Theater Award to the fat girl. You see, every year, all the high schools in Elmira Heights, they gave one award to a girl and one, no, just to a girl. I mean, just to one person. I wanted to win it so bad. She goes, we'll see what happens. So I did the play, I did it, it went great, and I'll be right back. I forgot to bring this out. You know what it is, you guys? The Elmira. I have hung on to this Elmira Theater Award. Best Drama Student Award, Thomas Edison, Ellen McCauley, 1972. My graduation, they gave scholarships and all this, and they go, and now we're very proud to say that this year's winner of the Elmira Theater Award is from our high school. And I'm thinking, can't be. I look out in the audience, my mother's just sitting there not moving. And they go, the winner of this year's award is Ellen McCauley. And I look at my mother, and she beamed. She didn't cry, she just beamed with such happiness. She said I would be the best fat girl. And you know what? I never let it define who I was. I went to college, I had a successful career. I couldn't buy a date in high school. And when I got to college, guys were like asking me out all the time, and they didn't care if I was 170, 180. I married a very handsome man. It didn't define who I was, but I still struggled. You know, in my adult life, I worked, and I didn't always go to church. I had too much to drink sometimes. I smoked. And when I had my first child, I got up to 285 pounds. And then I panicked. And that's when I went on a hardcore diet, and I went to Nutri-Systems. And I got down to 176 in 1982, and that's the last time I saw the 100s. And it was just hard to maintain. And then, you know, I moved here to Fairmount. My kids were involved in Holy Family School. I just celebrated my 30th anniversary here at Holy Family, and I love it here. I became a lector, a Eucharistic minister. I got involved with the church, the parish council. Still struggling with the weight, still struggling. And in 1999, I weighed over 350 pounds. And I went to a Life in the Spirit seminar, and I felt God touching my heart. And I got down in 1 year with Weight Watchers down to around 248, and I couldn't get lower. I tried, and in 2004, I just quit. And what happens when you quit? I slowly went up. 2004, 5, 6, 7. I went back up to 371 pounds in 2007. And for the first time in my life, I got really depressed over my weight. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to do anything. And Father Pryor came to my house, and he said, Ellen, can we pray? Can we talk? And that's when afterwards God put it on my heart to start praying it off. And that photo from the first day said it all. No makeup, no smile. And in the first year, on Pray It Off, I lost 100 pounds. And then the second year, 2009, I got down to 208 pounds, from 338 when I started to 208, which was my 130-pound award. But then in 2009, my world kind of got shook up. I, had lost my own business. I had to go back to work and at a regular job, and I started working someplace that wasn't good. And then I said, I was in the teens again, like 211, 212, 213, and then I said, but I'll never go over 220. Never, never, never. Went over 220. And then the next year, again, tough, whatever, hurt, had this surgery, whatever. I said, but I'll never go over 230. Went over 230. And then the next year, I couldn't lose weight, and I wasn't really eating the wrong things, but I couldn't lose weight. And then the next year, went up over 240. And only one person in the group ever said to me, you're putting on weight. Because I think you wanted to know that I was coming every week. I was trying to encourage everybody else, and I wasn't giving up. But when I got to 248 again, that seems to be my set weight, I was there for a couple of years, and I even went to the doctors and said, I can't get off 248. And then my sister's health went bad, and I thought, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. And when she passed away on March 12th, I knew she went right to heaven. And that's the same time I started the Whole 30 plan, where I gave up dairy, gluten, and sugar. And from March of 2016 till now, I have been on the Whole 30 plan. And everyone this session keeps saying to me, are you in the 100 yet? Are you in the 100 yet? And I wasn't lying. I wasn't. It was still a struggle to get from 248 down. And it wasn't until, I'll be right back.
She said she was going to do this.
I will never be in the 200s again! Last week I got to 198, and today I went 196! And I want to thank Jane Del Terrio, who many months ago gave me this butterfly necklace and earrings and said, when you get to the 100s, Ellen, I want you to wear it. So that's why I wore this tonight. Thank you. My weight, thanks to God, my mother, my husband, and you, never defined who I was. Never. I wanted to lose weight because I love life. God gave me the strength. But I've done the work. And I never, ever, ever gave up. Today I'm proud of myself. And I love you. Thank you.